Okay, so welcome to bee vlog number 3. The audio was a little messed up because it was so windy, so I'm just going to do a little voiceover for you guys. So basically today I was just stopping by to put some more sugar water into my 2 hives. I had already given them each about a half a pail of sugar water and it was gone in almost no time. So I mixed up some more and got it all put into their feed pails so that it's ready to go into the hive. And that's a whole nother story. It was a sticky mess. I didn't really do it right, but I'm learning. So to get started, I took the top cover off my hive and just observed my bees for a little bit. I saw that there were a few rogue bees in that top box, so I started smoking them. And honestly, I was probably a little more aggressive than I needed to be with the smoke, but I just wanted to make sure they got out there so I didn't squish them. Then, of course, I realized I forgot to actually have the sugar water pail beside me and ready, so I had to go to the truck to get it. And I'm sure more bees just went right back in, so I did have to smoke them again. So now I take my sugar water, which is in a pail with a hole on top, and that hole is covered with fine wire mesh. So I can flip it upside down and a little bit of sugar water will spill out, but then a vacuum will seal and I'll be able to keep that pail upside down and put it into that top box of the hive. And that way the bees will be able to lick through that mesh and get the sugar feed, but they won't be able to actually swim up into the pail, and the pail won't keep pouring water onto them, which could risk drowning some bees. And as soon as the pail is back in that top box, I can go ahead and put that cover back on. And I like to put a couple rocks and bricks on the top of my hives because we have some pretty brutal wind here in Saskatchewan, and I don't want to risk my hive being blown over or knocked over or anything like that. So as I move on to my second hive, which is Queen May's hive, I'm just going to take some time to blab a little bit about sugar water and what exactly it is and why we actually need it. So feeding your bees with some kind of supplement is really important when there's not a lot of flowers out in nature and there's not a lot of pollen and nectar for your bees to get naturally. Often they will just need a little bit something extra so that they can continue growing and expanding their colony, and I am choosing to feed them sugar water, which honestly I've heard some mixed reviews about. I've heard that pollen patties are maybe much better, but they're also a lot more expensive and a lot more hard to come by, whereas sugar water, it's really easy to just make yourself. As I'm just starting out here, I'm kind of figuring out what works the best for me, and right now it's sugar water. Eventually, I would love to feed my bees just with pollen patties, but that's just not really in the budget for me right now, so sugar water it is. So for my sugar water mixture, I used 1 part water to 2 parts white granulated sugar, and you just heat up the water and then stir in that sugar until it's dissolved fully. And I also add in some homemade Honey Bee Healthy, which is a supplement made up of mostly essential oils, and it helps the bees to digest that sugar water a little bit better. Everyone has slightly different ways of making their sugar water, but that's just how I make mine. I also feel the need to apologize to you guys because I realized while I was editing this video that I really had some horrible camera work and I was barely even showing you what was going on. So I'm so sorry about that, but I will try to do better next time and give you a little bit of a better view of what's actually going on inside the hive. Thank you so much for watching and for listening to me ramble. It turns out I can talk about my bees for pretty much hours on end, so I'm honored that you chose my video to click on, and I hope that you learned something and at least found this video a little bit interesting. See ya!